This session is for you if you are interested in finding out more about accountancy as a career. This is what we're going to cover. We're specifically talking about getting into accountancy at postgraduate level, so assuming you already have a first degree. So we're going to look at the different routes to accountancy qualification, graduate schemes, advice on doing your research, and suggested next steps. And most accountants qualify with one of these three main professional accounting bodies in England. All three options are open to graduates from any discipline, though in some roles, accounting or finance-related subjects may be preferred. A master's degree isn't mandatory, but could give you deeper technical knowledge and therefore help you stand out in a very competitive field. So we're now going to look at each one of these routes in more detail. Firstly, the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. And you would be working towards qualifying as an associate chartered accountant. If you gain a training place with an accountancy firm, you will be employed as a trainee accountant, working in areas such as audit, tax, consulting, advisory, and working towards this qualification, this qualification is the most common or traditional route in England. You would usually join via a training contract with an authorised employer. It can take 3 to 4 years of practical work experience for a graduate, alongside 15 study modules with exams and modules on ethics and professional development. The second option is quite similar and is known as the ACCA Global, so a slightly different organisation and qualification. It's said to be more globally recognised and described as having open entry, so in theory you can join without a degree. Again, similar 3 years of practical work experience with 13 different exams alongside ethics and professional development modules. And the third main option is CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, working towards the Chartered Global Management Accountant qualification. This option is slightly different in that it focuses more on business, finance, and management, and is usually offered by large companies in financial services. So it could be banks, could be credit companies, or if you work within you could work within a finance division of a large organisation in other industries, such as aerospace, communication, industry, that kind of organisation. Again, there are 13 exams and ethics and professional development modules. So these three options are what you would work towards. The next couple of slides are about how you would get into the accountancy profession. So you would probably look for opportunities to train in accountancy, either as a graduate job or as a graduate scheme. Now, many graduate opportunities in accountancy and finance in particular with the largest firms, are advertised as graduate schemes, but that certainly doesn't cover all the different options. So organisations of various sizes, and as we've just seen, different types of organisations can all offer different types of finance and accounting training. But for now, we're just going to have a little overview of what we mean by graduate schemes. So early application is advised for all schemes, particularly the ones that are the most competitive. And in many cases, the recruitment process for the schemes starts in the late summer or early autumn months as you go into your final year at university. So around the July, August, September of the year before you expect to graduate. And the recruitment process, particularly for schemes and graduate roles as well, will follow broadly this timeline and include these elements. Now, information on all these can be found on the websites that we'll look at shortly. So we're not going to go into a lot of detail, but some you may be more familiar with than others. So starting with an online application, it could be a CV, it could be an application form. There may well be some online psychometric assessments and a video interview. And at each stage, the idea is that the employer will narrow down the field of applicants till they get to the final section on in-person contact, which could be, again, more tests, interviews, and activities that together are known as an assessment centre, which could be group activities to see how candidates work together in teams. And all of these are quite common across all different types of graduate recruitment. And then once you've been offered a role and accepted into the firm, you will join usually a structured training programme, which, as we've said, across the different awarding bodies, the different professional bodies will combine work experience with professional support. And the training will be sponsored by the firm that you're working for. So, yeah, as we've said throughout this, here are a few links to carry out some research and into the actual job itself. So use things like prospects, student hub, and come and speak to the careers team as well for further information, advice, and guidance. So yeah, prospects is a good source of information there. And then the 3 different bodies that we've covered all have sections on early careers, how to become an accountant, particular accountant, studying with them, etc. So yeah, make sure you know about the actual role itself, the different routes, so you can make an informed choice about which is the best one for you. Okay, so in terms of next steps, whatever stage you're at in your studies, we would suggest that you try and gain some sort of relevant work experience and keep your CV and LinkedIn profile up to date. As you go through your studies and decide this is the route you want to take, make a list of the organisations that you would like to work for. And then as time gets in towards the end of your course, start to set up job alerts on websites, but keep your options open. Don't limit yourself to simply the biggest, most well-known names. And also whatever it is that you apply for, try and keep a record of different deadlines and applications and see where things are up to. Psychometric tests were mentioned as part of the recruitment process, and that goes across all industries, all sectors, and students at the university can practice those tests, and you can practice tests specific to different organisations by accessing the Graduates First website. And finally, if you've got any questions about any of this or want to discuss your ideas, please come and engage with the careers team. This is just a snapshot of what our website looks like, Student Hub, and you can find out further information and job vacancies through the different sections or make an appointment to come and speak to one of us. And finally, we have drop-in sessions that take place on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday afternoon between 1 and 5 o'clock. Thank you very much for listening.